Welcome to the Big Fuss Show with College SportsCast. I am Brad, and this week, Vanderbilt, that's right, Vanderbilt, shocks Alabama.
Can I please have your attention?
There's all a commotion around here.
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.
Welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are running a little behind tonight, but we are here, and I've got John Hammonds with me, and we are here to do the Big Fuss Show. What's up, Hammonds?
What's up, man? Did you have a good weekend this weekend?
Man, I've been so busy. I can't even take time to eat, I don't think.
Well,
So
I heard that your birthday was last week, and guess who's today's? Mine. Today's my birthday.
Oh my gosh. So we're just celebrating birthday after birthday after birthday around
I know,
here.
right?
Yeah. So we had John Roberts' birthday 2 weeks ago. Last week was my birthday, and this week is Hammond's birthday. So I'm not sure when Jason's birthday is, but if it's next week, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah, and for my birthday, this whole weekend, I had a great weekend because I seen so many upsets, so many games. Like I've never seen this weekend compared to any other weekend. It was one of the craziest weekends that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was, and we will get to that in just 1 second. I want to start the show off like I always do, talking about our Facebook page. If you are on our Facebook page, you can help support us. We would appreciate that by sending stars, or you can also subscribe to our page for 99 cents a month, and it will help us earn money to continue to keep making more content for you guys. So, and if you are on YouTube or any other place, the Real Fresh channel, WSBN TV, welcome to College SportsCast. We are glad that you are with us. This is the Big Fuss Show. So we always try to get with the biggest news and the best topics.
Yeah. I just wanted to say thanks for Terry Brown for filling in last Friday. My grandmother passed away. Her funeral's this week. So I just want to shout out Terry Brown for being able to do that Friday night for me. That was really awesome. Terry's a really good guy.
Yes, so Terry was with us for our game day pick'ems as a guest picker for us on Friday night. Hammonds wasn't with us. So it was good to have Terry on. Terry's a great guy. He collects all kinds of.
Even though he's a 49er.
He collects all kinds of stuff.
I pick Eddie because he's a 49er fan, but
he's a huge Kentucky fan before anything.
49,
I think. But we appreciate Terry being with us. Now we're going to kind of get into some stuff, and I mean, there is nothing better that we could talk about than Alabama and Vanderbilt. I mean, we got to start with that, John. I mean, massive. I mean, just a massive upset. But the most shocking thing to me, John, was that Vandy led the entire game. They did. They kept scoring. I mean, and stayed ahead. It's not like Vandy just hung around, had an interception and won at the end or something. I mean, they were ahead and looked like the better team the entire night. And I think that's what's most shocking.
They did, Diego Pavia, he had an unbelievable game. He was playing. To me, he looked like he was Johnny Manziel out there, just floating and guiding and slinging. And, what really shocked me about this whole game was Vanderbilt was 0-16, 0-60, 0-60 against AP top 5 opposition. And Alabama was coming off a win against number 1 Georgia. Alabama was a 23.5-point favorite over Vanderbilt, a program it had not lost to since 1984.
40 years.
You know, it was 14 at halftime. Vanderbilt Alabama just looked, there was no emotion, seemed like. There was just no effort. They looked like they was sleepwalking. Tackling was horrible. They was out of position. They was missing assignments. It was just not Alabama football. And it was just completely overwhelmed to see Vanderbilt do what they did to them for 4 quarters. It was just and there was a part in there where I thought, Alabama's going to come back because they cut it to 3, I think, in the third quarter, right before the end of the third quarter. And I thought, Alabama's going to win this game. They're going to finally put them away. And then that 4th and 1 where Diego Pavia just got drilled and slung the ball up, and the guy caught the ball underneath. And I thought to myself, you know what? This might be Vanderbilt's day, because there was just so many things happening in that game that just it made my head spin. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe Alabama is going to be in trouble. And, they had their chances to come back, though. They was within 2. They cut it within, I think, 33-28, and then Vanderbilt scored again. Every time they would score, Vanderbilt would answer. They couldn't stop Vanderbilt.
Right.
That was the biggest problem. They couldn't stop them.
Which is shocking, to say the least. I mean, Alabama was coming off of a big win against Georgia, who first time they've lost a regular season game in 3 years, Georgia, a regular season game. So, I mean, a huge win. Now, they jumped out way ahead and then let Georgia come all the way back in the second half. So, in the last 6 quarters, Alabama's defense has given up 67 points.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It kind of fluctuated from the Georgia game, the second half.
Yeah,
it kind of went
in the last 6 quarters.
It went from the Georgia game in the second half to Vanderbilt, and there was a part of me during this whole game that thought, oh, Alabama's going to come back. They're going to win. They're going to maybe get out of this scathe. But it just seemed like that Vanderbilt just had an answer for every play. And every time they needed a big third down, they picked it up. I think Alabama had a chance late in the game to stop them because they had, I think, 2 timeouts, and they couldn't stop them. And then when they was running the clock out, Malachi Moore pulled a temper tantrum.
I'm going to talk about that for sure.
That was another thing that kind of slinging the ball down.
But before we get to that, though, I want to ask you about Vanderbilt. Kentucky plays Vanderbilt this week on Saturday night. Vanderbilt played really well against Missouri and took to overtime, lost by a field goal in overtime, had a bye week, comes back, shocks Alabama, and now they're going to Lexington. What have we learned about this Vanderbilt team? And do you think their offense is as good as Alabama made them look like?
I think their offense is good. I think Jerry Keel is a really good coach. He come over from New Mexico State. He's a good offensive coordinator. I think they got some decent guys on the outside. They got Sherrill, and they got Pavia at quarterback. I think they're really, really good. Kentucky's going to find out this week how good their defense is. Kentucky's defense is, I think, ranked in the top 3 in the SEC. And I've never said this, and I know this has never come out of my mouth, Brad, but I think Kentucky's defense is better than Alabama's. at this point in the year. And I've never really said that, but we'll find out Saturday.
That one's even tough. That one's even tough for me to say. I mean, gosh, Alabama's got so much talent. I mean, it's hard to imagine that Kentucky's defense would be better, but we'll find out Saturday for sure because
I think
they put up 40 points against Alabama.
has improved that team. Now, I'll say, they lost to Missouri in the last seconds. They beat Alabama, but they're known for having games like they did against Georgia State. And do they have that kind of game, the hangover with Alabama? And we'll get to it later Friday or Thursday whenever we have our show. But the line in this game is kind of odd to me. Kentucky's a 13.5, 14-point favorite. Either Vegas thinks that Vanderbilt is going to have a hangover or they're really high on Kentucky at home. And
it's hard to say.
It could be either one, but I think Vanderbilt has improved. I think their defense still needs a lot of work. Alabama ate them up in certain plays. Ryan Williams had an unbelievable catch there in the third quarter that was just absolutely insane. The kid he's 17 years old. Let me repeat that, like Chris Fowler's. He's 17 playing in college, and he's the future of college football. Him and the kid from Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith. There's a lot of great players right now in college football, but Vandy has improved. I just want to see how Kentucky can handle that kind of offense, the screen plays, the option, how they maneuver what and can do. Can they make assignment stops to stop Vanderbilt? That's the question.
That's going to be key because Vanderbilt runs an offense that you don't see very often anymore. They do some screening and option and some different stuff that you don't see often. And, now Kentucky's had a bye week to game plan for it. So, they had an extra week here, Brad White did. So, they should be able to come out this Saturday and still play up to par what the defense has looked like. But you never know in this type of game. It is going to be something different that we won't see the rest of the season.
I will say this real quick before we move on to another upset and whatnot in this show. When was the last time a Kentucky Vanderbilt game had some meaning to it? Like it's this Saturday.
Meant this much. Yeah.
Because if one of these teams win, they set themselves up pretty good in the SEC for at least a decent bowl. And
to be quite honest with you, John,
I still can't get over Alabama losing this game.
The winner of this Kentucky Vanderbilt game is still vaguely in the hunt for a college football playoff spot.
Yeah, it's
and we're talking Kentucky and Vanderbilt. I mean, it's a little strange to be honest with you.
It is
now,
but I'm still not over Alabama losing this game. It just blows my mind.
No, it's a big, and this we'll talk about it just a little bit more. So Malachi Moore, at the end of this game, had a huge tantrum fit on the field. And I know a lot of people have been talking about the tantrum itself on the field. That's not really what I want to talk about, John. The worst part about all of this is that the defensive coordinator and Coach DeBoer sent a guy out to replace Malachi Moore and to get him out of the game. And Malachi Moore waved him off and refused to leave the game with the defensive coordinator and Kalen DeBoer in the background going like this and telling him to get off the field. And Malachi Moore, during this tantrum, refused to come off the field. Now, here's my question. When this comes to Kalen DeBoer, does he have a handle on this team? Because
that's what I was
Saban would not put up with that. He would have jerked a knot in this guy's tail.
To me, I've said it. I was talking to somebody today about the Alabama game, and I thought there's the whole game Saturday. They looked like there was no discipline. They was trying to do their own thing, and it was like the coaches were just sitting there like stumped on how to fix everything. And it just felt like that the players were more in control than the coaches was. And that's not Alabama football. Alabama football is a disciplined team. More question than not. They're usually prepared. And here's my thing. If this was Saban, what would Saban do?
To be honest with you, John, I think Saban would have went out on the field and grabbed him and drug him off the darn field. I don't think Saban would have let him refuse to come off the field. I mean, I just don't see that happening.
I just think it was a bad look because, you know, it which I get the emotion. You never really seen any emotion from them the whole game, but you seen Malachi Moore getting upset, which I like that part of it. But at the end of the day,
to an extent, yes.
You're trying to keep yourself together and not have another game like this. And you don't want to lose a key guy like that by him acting like a fool on the field. So I don't know. Alabama's got a lot of work. If anybody ever listens to the Feinbaum show, Legend is one of the biggest Alabama fans around, and he literally went in on Kalen DeBoer, saying the honeymoon's over. He said the honeymoon's over. It's time. He said we don't do this at Alabama. We don't lose to Vanderbilt, and that's true. You don't,
and they don't.
You don't lose to Vanderbilt.
So my question to you this. Now, it's already come out. Kalen's already said they're taking care of this internally, blah, blah, blah. He's not going to be suspended, everything else when it comes to Malachi Moore. And by the way, Malachi Moore is a defensive captain on this team. I mean, so my question to you is this. Should he be suspended? Should he have to set out a game for not only throwing the tantrum, but also not listening to and refusing the coach? I think that's more of an issue than anything, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and I don't think he should be suspended, but now I don't know how Saban would react or any other coaches, but if it was up to me, I would probably sit him out for the first half against South Carolina, just to show him that we do not tolerate that here. I would sit him the first half at South Carolina, and I would let him play the second half to give him an idea that you don't do this at Alabama. These are the standards that you have to meet, and if you don't meet them, there's consequences. And you know, I think that
I agree 100%.
I think he knew better, but it was in the heat of the moment. Alabama had just lost. They was upset, which I get that part, but there's no excuse for him swinging the ball, getting upset, pushing coaches off, telling them no. It was just, from a whole Alabama perspective, it was just a total failure Saturday. There was just no emotion. There was no energy. Now there was a couple drives where they was getting back in the game. They got some energy back, but it just felt like every time they got some kind of a momentum swing, Vanderbilt just put that away.
Stop them.
They couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
And there's some and we'll talk about that later, but there's some issues on this Alabama defense. They can't do this all year long, or they're going to get lit up. If you get lit up by Vanderbilt, you're going to get lit up by Missouri and these others. You're going to have to figure things out very quick.
That's true. All right, let's get to Arkansas. In Fayetteville on Saturday night, Arkansas come out with a big win, and I think quite possibly Sam Pittman's best win in 5 years. What do you think?
It was, and I say they overcame a 14-3 deficit. It's their first win over an AP top 5 team since 2007. And if anybody remembers who that was, it was LSU. When LSU didn't LSU win it that year? I think they won it all that year. They was the only team that had 2 losses that won it all, I think. So
yeah,
I thought, they done a really good job slowing down Nico. He didn't have a great game. He looked timid the entire night. He couldn't make certain throws. They was pressuring him. It was 3-0 at halftime. Arkansas was ahead for majority of the first half. They just never could get it together. And the wide receivers, to me, the offense don't even look the same like it did with Hendon Hooker. I don't know what's happening in Knoxville, but there's some, that looked like a Joe Milton type team. And I hate to say that, but it did. It looked like a Joe Milton team that just looks like they're just in a rut. And
I mean, they're still top 5 in the country offensively, but
I have to
agree with you. I have to agree with you. I don't think they looked great Saturday night. I really don't. I mean, offense only put up 14 points. I don't think Nico looked good. He looked very uncomfortable all night long. And let's talk about this last play. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman, but, I mean, the game is on the line. He's the quarterback. He's got the ball in his hands. You have to score a touchdown or the game is over. And he literally runs to the sideline and just runs out of bounds.
Well, if you remember back, was it last year, maybe a year before, Joe Milton did the same thing at Ole Miss. He had the same exact play where he ran out of bounds and you couldn't find anybody open. And
was it at the end of the game?
That's inexcusable. You regardless if you don't make a play or not, at least throw the ball into the end zone and hope for a player to come down with it. Like, what's the chances you got? You either win the game or you lose the game. And
yeah, I mean,
and I'm
you
gonna
have
say
to do something. You can't just carry the ball out of bounds. I mean,
and I know people's gonna get on me because I was on the Tennessee hype train. I was hyping them up. I thought they was doing really good, and they smacked themselves in the face Saturday night. And I've kind of come back down to reality. Now I will say their defense is really, really good. They got a really good defense, but even their defense didn't play that great. They gave up some long throws up until Taylor Green got hurt. He got hurt late in the fourth quarter, I think. And the backup came in and they went down the field. But they just – even Tennessee's got issues right now. Their issues is offensively. I didn't think their offensive line played that great. Their offensive line was getting whipped at times. The biggest bright spot for Tennessee, I thought, was Dylan Sampson. I thought he played a really good game at the running back position. He played really good. But the wide receivers, there was a couple drops. Nico overthrew a couple of guys. Squirrel White had a bad game. And I thought Squirrel White was one of the top wide receivers in the country coming back. And they're not, somebody mentioned yesterday, said, why can't we do this and figure these things out as a Tennessee fan? and a guy posted said, "We're not playing Kent State, Furman," and they was making jokes. They said, "We're not playing the FCS schools. Like you're going up against actual SEC competition now." And
yeah, absolutely.
But
and that's what I've been saying. Everybody talked about Ole Miss. Everybody talked about Ole Miss and how they hadn't played nobody. Well, Tennessee was in the exact same boat.
Well, and especially at SEC school, when you go up against a team with a pulse, you're going to get challenged. And that's what Tennessee did Saturday. They got challenged. They got pushed around. I thought Arkansas played really physical with them. That's a big win for Pittman. That might have saved his job for at least another year. If he ends up having
I think it may have.
Even if
he's 4, they're 4-2.
They are.
They're 4-2.
And they're not a bad. They're not a bad team. Their offense at times struggles, but Arkansas's deep front four is absolutely legit. They're good up front on the front four. They got a really good defense. So
that is a huge win for Sam Pittman. You got to you got to tip your cap to Pittman and the job that he has done this season so far. They struggled.
Turn that jukebox up. You seen in the
they struggled against. Yeah. They struggled against UAB, and I have been kind of wait and see because of that UAB game, because UAB is not real good. They did come back and win that game, but they were behind at the start of the fourth quarter, or at the very end of the third, 20-17 in that game. And I had some questions, but I'm going to be honest with you. They answered my questions Saturday night. Beating Tennessee, even if it was at home, is a huge, huge win for them. So you got to tip your cap. Great win for Arkansas. Now, just like at the end of the Alabama game, so Arkansas rushed the field. The fans and stuff rushed the field at the end of the game when they won the game. And John, I know you've seen it. There is a Tennessee player, and I don't know his name. You might even have looked it up and know the kid's name. All I can tell you is that there is a Tennessee player that shoves a fan, and the fan goes flying back and knocks and runs into a cheerleader and knocks the cheerleader flying as well. Both of them go flying across about 3 yards.
Omari Thomas.
The Tennessee.
Omari Thomas was his name.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Tennessee player, Omari Thomas, whatever you're saying there, his name is. My question to you is, this has to be disciplinary, right? Come on. Beyond a little pat on the hand. This, in today's world, John, this could be considered assault.
Yeah.
In today's world.
But then again, we've had this conversation. We even had it last year, or maybe the year before, when Tennessee beat Alabama and they had Burton with the girl, I think, in Knoxville, where he kind of pushed her down or whatnot.
Yeah.
See, this is where you can open a can of worms with, because with the court storming and field storming. To me, I think fans should be there, but getting near the players is another logistical nightmare. I don't think you should be in a player's face. We had that at Notre Dame. Remember, what was it last year, where a fan got in Notre Dame's face and the quarterback's face, and he said something, and somebody had to push him out of the way. I don't think fans should be on the field at the end of a game, but that's my opinion. Because what if they go up? What if they say, I don't know how to explain this. Say somebody says something to somebody, and the coach pushes somebody, and somebody you're going to have he said, she said stuff. It's going to go to court. it's a logistical nightmare to even get into that.
It is. I agree with everything you're saying, John. However, if you are on the team and you are a part of the team and a football player, you can't retaliate and do that. I mean,
Well, I get that part, but they're in the heat of the moment.
He is lucky if there's not charges against him this week. He is a lucky human being, because I can tell you for sure, if that was me, whoever that was, the cheerleader's dad or whoever would be making sure I was either charged or sued or something. I can promise you. You just can't do that. And on top of that, John, Heupel can't let that go. I mean, you can't just be, okay, you can't do that, son. I mean, there has to be more to it than just that.
Which I don't,
in my opinion,
I don't think fans should be on the field. And one thing I think the fans shouldn't be doing, they shouldn't be going up to players either and getting in their face and saying, like, that's another problem that fans have a problem with. They want to go up into the opposing team's face and smart off, and you're asking for it when you do that. And why would you do that when you know that there's going to be consequences? Which I get the part from Omari Thomas why he did what he did, but fans shouldn't go up into the player's face and start smarting off either. That's another part of it. You should know better than to go. There's too much error out there for you to, because you're either going to get pushed.
Well, let me ask you about this one then. If you're saying it's okay just because a fan is on the field and smarting off to a player, then how about this one? In the Michigan game, there was a fan in the stands, and a Michigan defensive coach comes up and tells him to set the F up or he's going to get F'd up, to be honest with you.
That's another issue.
I mean, like, this is a coach. This was a fan. This fan was in the stands. Now, I'm sure he was running his mouth.
Yeah,
most next to the Michigan bench. I'm not going to sit here and say that the fan wasn't running his mouth. I know that he was, I'm sure. But, I mean, come on. You're an assistant coach. You're a defensive coach. And you go over and basically threaten this kid. It's probably a kid in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he looked young.
Most likely. Yeah. I think there needs to be I don't know. I don't know what we can do to stop all this, but there has to be a happy medium in college football to where this does not continue happening, because you see it every game just about where the fan says something. We had, if everybody didn't watch the NLDS, the San Diego Padres and the Dodgers, they had the Dodger fans going after Fernando Tatis in the outfield, throwing stuff. And I don't agree with none of it, but somewhere we have to draw the line. And I don't know what that is between the fans and the players, because eventually this is going to cause somebody to get killed or hurt because of stupidity and not having some common sense. And I've always said that I say the Tennessee player has got to sit at least a half. He's got to sit. He can't not be punished. I mean, I'm just telling you, if that was my little girl, I'm old enough I could have a cheerleader. If that was my little girl, there was a cheerleader on the team that gets run into and thrown back like that,
I'd be pissed off, and I'm not even playing.
But see, Mike, he said if the fan is in the stands, he has the right to what he does. Yes, but he don't have the right to go into a field of play and start pushing and shoving a player. See, that's where you're going to get into a lot of trouble. And when you start drinking, because there's beer involved in some of these games, and I think the only thing you can really do is, I think they done for a Giants Dodgers fan one time. They banned them from the baseball field for the rest of the year, and I don't know how that's going to work, but I mean, some things you're just going to have to. You let the emotions of the game get to you, and I think that's what happened with the Tennessee player. He let emotions fly, and he got mad, and he even apologized later in this week, and said he was sorry for what he done and caused. But still, you should act better when it comes to stuff like that.
All right, so we didn't get to this last week. The show kind of messed up at the end, and we were going to do our Heisman list last week, and we didn't get to that. So I thought maybe this week we will kind of revisit our Heisman picks here. This will be part of our Pick Six segment. So, John, I will give you just a second here to kind of gather your thoughts. All right, this is our Pick Six. John, so like I said, last week we did not get to this. We had planned it, but we didn't quite get to it. So Heisman, top six, your Heisman watch. Right now for me, I have what I think is pretty much a clear favorite. And I know a lot of people's not going to like it. I know a lot of people's not going to like it because he doesn't play for one of the big schools, power conference schools that everybody thinks should get it. But I think that's part of the reason why he is the leader, is that he's doing something at a place and on a stage that you don't normally see. And I appreciate that as a fan. So, but I didn't say no names yet. I'll give you the floor. Your top six for your Heisman watch.
My top six is Ashton Jeanty is number one from Boise State. I think he's kind of separated himself the last couple of weeks. Like you said, he doesn't play quarterback and he doesn't play for a top-notch Power 4 school. I think that's what's hurting him really. But I still think that he has the best chance of anybody to win. Travis Hunter is number two. I think Travis Hunter is doing an exceptional job on the year. He's had some big game moments. Cameron Ward is third. I think Cameron Ward, he showed Saturday night in that comeback, which I'll get to maybe later in the show, that there was a targeting penalty in that game that kind of swayed all that. The referees kind of got involved in that game. But four would be probably Jalen Milroe. I mean, he was separating himself from the pack, and then he, dropped the dud against Vanderbilt, and I think that kind of hurt him a little bit, which I thought he played decent at times Saturday, but he just never really had that game that made him look like a Heisman, I think, like these others have done. So, and fifth, is that one, two? Is that four? Fifth, I think, would be Dylan Gabriel. I think Dylan Gabriel would be five. I think he's had a pretty good year. He's got a big game this weekend against Ohio State. I think that can change a little bit of things. And probably, six, I guess you would have to go Twin Ewers, wouldn't you? I mean, even though he's hurt right now, he's playing. When he was playing, he was really he's having a
Yeah,
decent.
but he's missed like 2.5 games.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do this. I'm gonna put somebody in there that nobody probably think. I'm gonna put Ryan Williams in there, from Alabama. I know that he probably won't win it. He's a freshman, 17, but he deserves to be in the top 10 at least. With some of the plays that he's made on the big stage, he's made some unbelievable catches, and probably Jeremiah Smith would be in there too, from Ohio State. He's having a really good year as well. But that's my top 6.
I mean, I agree with you for the most part. I mean, the top 2 to me is exactly the 2 that you have. I mean, and I think they have kind of separated themselves a little bit. I mean, week in and week out, they are making plays on the field. I think Travis Hunter playing both sides of the ball the way he does and never comes off the field and is making plays on both sides every game, it seems like. Winning plays. I think Travis Hunter is right up there, but Ashton Genty, I mean, I know everybody's going to say, well, he's not in a power conference and he's not playing the same type of schedule, and put him in the SEC and let's see what he does and everything else. But they played 5 games. They played Oregon and almost beat them. And he had 3 touchdowns and nearly 200 yards or somewhere around there against Oregon. They played Washington State and beat them pretty good. And Genty looked great against Washington State. They still have Oregon State. They have UNLV coming up. So, I mean, here's the thing. I think that Boise State is set up. If they could beat Washington State and UNLV and run the table, I think we're looking at a Boise State team that not only could get into the college football playoffs, but I think they could be inside that top 4, ranked like to get a bye, not be the 12th seed. I think there is a chance that this Boise State team could be inside the top 4 and get a bye in the playoff. Because all they have to do is be ranked ahead of the Big 12 or the ACC. And I think if they run the table, there's a chance that happens. And Genty being the leader of this team that's on pace to go for nearly 3,000 yards and 45 touchdowns. If that happens and they're in the top 4, he deserves a Heisman. I mean, honestly, if he gets those numbers, if he gets anywhere close to them and gets them inside the top 4 in this playoff, he deserves a Heisman. And then, Milroe, he was playing pretty good, but I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to go the Stephen A. Smith route right here. Okay? Maybe you've seen this week, but you're playing for Alabama. Okay? I mean, you can't lose to Vanderbilt. All right? I mean, come on now. You can't lose to Vanderbilt and think you're still in the Heisman race. This isn't, you're not playing for Kentucky, or you're not playing for, you're playing for Alabama. That would be, even if they run the table, if Bama runs the table, that Vandy loss is still in here. everybody's still going to remember it. I think that's going to hurt him majorly. I really do. I mean, let's say Dylan Gabriel beats Ohio State this weekend. If that happens, I think he's clear third, right? More than likely. I think so, at least right now. I mean, you can't lose to Vanderbilt. This is Alabama we're talking about. So that's where I'm at with it. And I know everybody is on board with, still talking about him as far as the Heisman. But man, alive, I don't know if I can get there with that after watching the Tide, the Crimson Tide, lose to the Commodores. I mean, all right. So, what other games from this past week and topics and stuff do you want to talk about? You're on mute.
Miami escaped in Berkeley this weekend. Cal hosted College Game Day. It was a late game. If people never watched this game, it was after dark, Pac-12 after dark, as I call it. Miami was down, I think, 20 points at one point.
Yes.
It
John,
seemed shaky.
I stayed up to 12:30. I'm on Central Time. It was 12:30-ish, and they were down 20 points. It was into the fourth quarter, like maybe 12, 13 minutes to go into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I was getting tired. I thought, okay, this game is over. I shut the game off, went to sleep. Next morning, I wake up and they said Miami won. I was like, what? That ain't even right. There's no way that happened.
Well, and two,
Sure
the game was without no controversy. They was down 6 points. I think Miami had forced Cal to punt, but there was a play in this game that really upset me. Because if Cal gets that call, they run the clock out most likely. The replay to me showed a clear targeting, but they had no flag. But no flag was thrown at the time. The booth reviewed the play, and apparently, despite what looked like a clear evidence of a launch with the crown of the helmet, there was no penalty. And that gives me to question this, Brad. What is targeting anymore? Because I have no idea. There's no.
Don't ask me. I never liked the targeting stuff in football anyway. It's never been consistent. It would be one thing if it had been consistent all along, but you've got one person thinks it's this, one person that calls it that way. It's never been consistent. And until they get it universally consistent in the game, I don't like it. I never have. And I agree with you. That was a targeting.
Our ace in the hole is here.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah,
she's here.
We'll kind of go. We'll go on that after we do this with her. But I just felt like the targeting call was kind of that was one targeting call that really should have been called, but the referees let it slide, and Miami ended up going down the field and scoring and winning the game, which I kind of felt bad for Cal, but at the same time, I think Cal hurt themselves with the defense that they played. I thought Cal had a really great defense, but Miami lit them up in the second half Saturday night, which, you can put both sides on the blame, Cal's defense and the targeting call. it wasn't just one or the other. So,
All right. So, Mindy, I think it's Haney.
It's time now
Is
for
with
Ace
us.
in the Hole with Lady Luck, Mindy.
she's back.
Or it could be
All right,
Han.
Mindy. Did I pronounce your last name right?
No, it's Han. It's one of those weird silent E's at the end.
Oh man.
Mindy Han.
See, that's the reason why I don't never say it. That's the
I
reason
know,
why I don't
right?
never say it, because I don't, it's not just you. If he asked John, I butcher especially last names all the time on this show.
Yeah.
It's just
Right,
a
right.
running thing that I do all the time. If it's not common, I'm going to guess wrong. I'm going to say it wrong. I mean, that's just how it is. I
Hey,
don't
Mindy,
know.
Yeah.
I gotta know something this week.
Oh gosh.
I
You're
gotta
putting me on the spot.
have some good birthday numbers this week. So what do you got? What do you got us for this week? Like, what do you have this week? That
Yeah,
is
today
my
is
sweet-
John's birthday.
Wow, I wish I knew this because my folks at WagerWire, they like to do sports betting astrology. So all I need to do is give them your birth date and they can give you back your numbers that you should play. So maybe we can go ahead and get that done here for you.
that would be true.
Astrology. Yeah, what's your actual birth date? What is it?
It's 10/8/86.
10/8/86. All right. So what I'll do is I'll have them do one of the astrology betting cards for you.
Oh, and you just send it to my my ex, my
Okay.
DMs, and just let me
Yeah.
know what
For
it
sure,
is.
for sure. But for me, I mean, I always go by like my ball number, right? So that was 12. So that's like my favorite number. And they say, like, for my birth date, the number 8, which is kind of ironic that you're on the 8th day of October. So
Well,
how about-
and here's the
like,
thing I
about the
tell
horses,
people,
like a exacta.
which I tell people all the time. Somebody said, "You have a good day." I said, "Dude, it's just another day. It's just a birthday. That's all it is."
What do you like to do for your birthday? I always go to hibachi. It's like my favorite.
I actually went to eat. Have you ever heard of Cheddar's?
Yes,
Restaurant?
we have a Cheddar's here. Yeah.
My mom loves it, and we went. She took me today, and I got a birthday cake and
They have some good drinks there too.
And I'm getting older too. So like Brad, we're getting older and nowhere to go. Like Brad posted last night, he said, "Oh,
Brad,
growing up, nowhere to
I'm not
go,
old.
man. All
Brad's
growing
probably
up
the
and
youngest
nowhere
one
to
here.
go."
Don't be
man.
throwing me in this, John. I wasn't even in this conversation.
Right. How did you get it with him?
Oh goodness,
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's just always pick on Brad Day,
All
right?
right.
I love Brad. Brad's my buddy.
Always. All right, Mindy, how'd you do last week?
Oh goodness.
I didn't do so well again, you guys. I don't know what's going on. I'm on like a skid. I went like 1 and 2, so I can't be doing that again. We gotta sweep the card this week.
So you got 3 for us? You got 4? What do you got for us
I got
tonight?
3 today. I got 3. I went to the Husker game this weekend
Okay.
versus Rutgers. And I think the wind was about 50 or 60 miles an hour. And I think they were harvesting corn. And I really haven't been able to see for about like 3 days now. So I finally feel like my eyes are getting better. So I'll blame that on my lack of predictions here for today. So I have 3. I got my upset alert. I got my
Is that why
I
the
got my
score
one
was
other.
is that why the score was 14-7? Because it was so windy and
Oh
just
yeah,
bad?
it was
Like, 'cause
so windy.
I
It was
expected more.
insane. Yeah, it was windy on the field. Luckily,
Okay.
the Huskers had to punt from, their own 5 towards the end of the game, and he wound up getting it in the wind, and it went and put it down on the 2. Like, it was crazy how windy it was. You know how Nebraska lets the balloons go after the first score? They just swirled inside of the stadium like this forever. It was crazy.
Oh, that's kind of funny to see. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a good time.
All right,
though,
Mindy,
right?
so-
I mean, play hard, work hard.
Which-
That's what we did.
Which one do you want to start with tonight?
All right, let's do just our regular old Mindy likes this play. It's going to be with
Okay.
UNLV versus Utah State, right? It's a big number in this one. UNLV, they got to lay 18.5. But I'm okay with that. Look at what UNLV has done so far. I mean, they almost covered the spread there. It was like horrible. Like what was it? Like last Thursday or whatever. I had to, lose with Kirk Cousins last second. Then I lost in overtime there, UNLV. Like, it's like I lost 3 games in under 30 seconds. I was like, what the hell is this? I'm on the right track for, 49 minutes or 59 minutes, and then I lose 3. But that's how it goes. But not this week. The Aggies unfortunately have Mr. Petrus, the old guy from Iowa, and I'm not the Iowa fan here, but I feel like UNLV just has a big edge here. They've put up 72, they've put up 59, they've put up 41. They like to score. Plus they have the advantage on third down. I always like to look at where we're at third down conversion wise. And again, I feel like Utah State, they're going to fail on defense once again. I love UNLV covering that big number, 18.5.
Well, UNLV is coming off of a tough loss. And I'm going to be honest with you. Utah State got ran over by Boise State last week. Genty didn't even play the second half.
That guy is amazing. Amazing.
He took his shoulder pads off and everything at halftime. I mean, like,
what did he put up, 180 at the half? It was crazy.
186. But wait a second. You'll appreciate this. So there was a bet, a player prop of over or under of 190.5.
Oh no.
And he got 186 yards at halftime, and they said
no more.
And everybody's like, you've got to be kidding me. One more play is all he needed.
Yeah, like I said, that feels like Kirk Cousins coming back on me there at the end, right? Oh goodness.
Yeah. So anyway, I know some people that bet it, and they were furious.
Well, yeah, they have every right to be furious after that. Every right. Oh my goodness.
So I thought crazy. You would appreciate that as a bettor.
I do. So, I always like the bad beats because I feel like I'm the only one that ever gets them. But I now I feel like it's they spread the love around with the bad beats.
Yeah. So I know some people that bet it, and they were furious. They were throwing all kinds of fits.
I would not be happy. That's for sure.
I kept telling him, I said, maybe he'll come back. I just kept egging it on.
Maybe he'll go put his shoulder pads back on. You never know.
Yeah, maybe just one play. Maybe they'll come back.
Exactly. Right.
All right, Mindy.
Oh, we're going to the lock.
All right.
So
your lock of the week.
All right. So my lock of the week is going to be between Northwestern and Maryland. That's right. Northwestern right now, they're 2-3, 0-2 in the Big Ten. Maryland is 3-2, 0-2 in the Big Ten there as well. Northwestern's played some decent competition, Indiana, Washington. But the Northwestern's offense has been, I don't know, terrible. Is that a nice thing to say? Terrible. About 152 yards a game, like just not getting it done. And look at Maryland. They've kind of bounced back after that loss to Michigan State. I love Billy Edwards. What, 1444? Maybe you should have 4 as your number for your birthday. But yeah, I mean, look at him throwing the long ball around. I tell you, he's really, really good. I like him. I think Maryland just has the firepower here to get it done. I like Maryland. They're 6-3 straight up against the spread too. And I love teams that like to make me money, you guys. I like teams that make money. So let's take Maryland -10. It's my lock. Absolute lock. I love it.
-10. All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what the spread was. Again. I kept waiting to hear. No, North, I feel pretty good on this one. I just didn't know what the spread was. I kept waiting to hear exactly what the spread was on it.
Yeah, it's kind of a big one.
But you said -10?
Yeah, a bit. It's kind of a big one. Yeah, but Northwestern, if you can't produce offensively in this in these leagues, you're toast. Because otherwise you got to play in the ACC.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
where the refs help you. Where the refs
Speaking,
help.
speaking
every
of
week.
that, speaking of that, Mindy, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you a good laugh. Somebody had made a article. I think it was like early this week. They was talking. I can't remember. It was on ESPN or something, and they was talking about FSU and Florida State, and something come up with Clemson, and it was like a recap of the game.
You
It said,
sure?
here was the recap of the game. And this was like Clemson saying, hey, the SEC's on the phone. They said they're ready to expand. And Florida State said, really? And Clemson said, no, they don't need you. They have Vanderbilt.
Right. That was awesome. I
That's pretty good. I thought that's pretty good.
Yeah, I did watch the end of that game going down the stairs at the stadium on my phone. That was awesome that they kicked their ass.
Yeah.
I just thought that was pretty funny. That Florida State's in a bind right now. They're having a really good,
man, I guess. I mean, talking about a waste of talent there.
yeah, it's pretty bad. So
Absolutely.
All right.
So the big upset last week was the Vandy over the Alabama. That was the
I don't
big
know.
one.
I mean, like,
Of course
there
you
was
had-
5 upsets. Holy cow, that was crazy.
There was.
Yeah.
Of course, Bama was number 1, and Vandy
like you
is
said,
Vandy.
probably the big
I mean,
I'll say this, Mindy. If anybody had
Oh.
Vanderbilt over Alabama in their upset pick and had money on that, man, my goodness, what kind of money they win is all I can
It was
say.
probably the wide receiver's mom might have had money on that pick. That's about it.
Yeah.
You would have to be a super homer to have
All right.
Vandy win in that one.
Yeah.
absolutely. Now, there's just no way. I could have never picked that. Not in a million years.
Oh,
All right.
It was great though.
So
That's why
this
college
week,
football's fun.
week 7.
Goodness, already
we are
I
in
feel like
week
we're
7.
halfway through, right?
Yep. This week we will be. After this week, we'll be halfway through.
Bummer
Yep.
already. All right.
Yep,
Ready for this
absolutely.
one?
Yep.
All right.
All right.
It's going to be between.
Upset pick of the week.
As soon as I announce it, you'll know what my upset's going to be. It's going to be Utah versus Arizona State. Ta-da! So yeah, we're taking Arizona State here plus 6.5. I like
So
Arizona
you're
State
taking the Sun Devils?
on the money line. I like them on the money line. Yeah, Arizona State, they're going to win this game. Still one of those, no Cameron Rising. That's a huge difference. This guy back here, hustling back up has just not been good. I mean,
What is the deal with Cam Rising? Is he not coming back? What's the deal?
I mean, if I were him, I wouldn't come back this season, but it seems like they're still trying to get him healthy, every single week. I don't know.
I think your friend Erica Taylor, you know her?
I don't know Erica Taylor. Should I?
She said Cardinals +5, Commanders +7, she said.
Oh, okay. I didn't look. Are we looking at the comments?
I think she's talking about the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, right there. I see. Cardinals +5, Commanders +7. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing she's talking about this week. I'm guessing.
There we go. Just Erica. That's
Yeah.
right.
I don't care what happens. Cowboys beat the Steelers Sunday night, so we're good.
That's all that matters, right? But I think Arizona State though, they've been like no stranger.
This guy lives and
games.
dies with the Cowboys every week. It's ridiculous.
I do every week.
I mean, I grew up wearing out. I think I told you this, right? I wore out all the white lettering on my old 33 jersey growing up, my blue for Tony Dorsett.
But he's not even from Texas.
Yeah,
America's team.
I finally
It's
found
America's team. You should know that by now.
America's team, bro.
You don't have
That
to be
was
from
That
Texas.
was 30 years ago. That was 30 years ago. People.
Maybe.
There he goes.
I mean,
Oh,
'cause I
goodness.
got accused
I
of
mean,
not
good
understanding the
grief.
rivalry of
Get over yourself.
of the Steelers Cowboys back in the day. I'm like, there's a lot of gray hair under here, you guys. That's why I wear it like this. But I mean, I remember Terry Bradshaw. I remember the old Danny White. So I remember all those.
Hey, Mindy.
Yeah.
At least we ain't a
I
Packers
remember Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, I don't understand.
At least I don't ride or die with them every single week.
Well, you
Like,
could
if
be
they
riding
get
with the
beat,
Packers every week.
I'm okay.
Oh, okay.
If they get beat, I'm okay. Like, I'm not gonna like lose my mind because they get beat. I mean, every once in a while, your team gets beat. That's just the way it is. You know, I mean, they don't
Right.
win
All right,
every
picking
game they play.
I like picking it, Brad.
They should.
Do you have another upset
Yeah.
pick that you thought about like this week?
No, not really. Just because I haven't made it through the whole card. My eyes, like I said, they've been really sore, so I didn't get through everything. Got a lot of computer work. I mean, it's one of those, like, I slept till almost like 2 today. I've been like just running behind all day, so I don't have anything else for you right now. I'm always one of those that I'm on
we
the
appreciate you being with us, Mindy.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you being
my
with
time.
us.
I'm glad because you still want to have me back, even though I, lost like the last 2 weeks. So,
well, we might have to change our mind. No, I'm just kidding.
right? Let's maybe
I'm
we
just
should
kidding.
start
We
doing some
appreciate you
hockey
here.
with basketball or something, right?
We'll give you a refund for basketball season.
Well, basketball will be coming up soon.
Yeah, I'll give you some
basketball will be
picks,
coming
some
up
hockey
soon, so
picks.
we will add a little basketball. Yeah, so we'll add a little bit, to it as we go along. Might even throw in a women's game every now and then because I am covering.
Wow, now you're
some of the
gonna. I mean,
women's.
that's like crazy expanding, but I mean, it's gonna be over soon. WNBA. They just have the finals and that's it.
No. I'm not talking about I'm talking about college.
Oh, you mean like softball?
No, college basketball.
Oh, college,
I'm
women's
talking
college
about
basketball. Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
basketball. Yeah.
Which we do watch college softball.
Yeah.
I love college softball. College softball is a fun sport.
Yeah, because I was a college softball player back in the day, like 1995.
She was back in the day.
Back in the day. I played for Nebraska, Omaha. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah. So they made it to the finals last year, if you remember, in softball. Maybe not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I've been to the Women's College World Series
I do.
many times in Oklahoma. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
It's
all right.
It's a big deal. The College World Series is. Yep.
Yeah, it's huge.
All right, Mindy. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you. I always have
fun. All right. Have a good night.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I have to deal with him the rest of the show.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I'm just kidding. Oh,
me too.
Oh, goodness.
Funny.
Golly.
Thanks,
Taking
you
a
guys.
beating over here.
Hey, someone's got to do it. You look like you have the biggest shoulders.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. All right, let's get some wins this week, you guys. I think I got them. I got it narrowed down this week. We're ready to go. All right.
Yeah, let's get some wins.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Mindy.
I appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye.
It's time now for Ace in the Hole with Lady Luck, Mindy.
All right, guys, that was Mindy. She is with OG Cappers, and she comes on each Tuesday night to try to give us a little bit of insight through the week about making some bets and stuff. So we'll see how we do this week. That is Mindy with our Ace in the Hole.
On our, I guess this would be our final thing. I guess this will be the final buzzer, I guess, wouldn't it, Brad?
Yeah.
I thought during the week, some of the games you was talking about, Missouri losing big to A&M was kind of huge. Florida, I was shocked that they beat UCF like they did. But it looks like UCF is not that great. They're not a great team at this point in the year. But other than that, they wouldn't really – I mean, Louisville lost to SMU. I thought that was a big game. SMU played a really good game. The Fighting Ponies that Brad loves the Pony Express. And SMU's in the hunt for things here.
They are.
So
Yeah, they
like
are.
Ole Miss went to South Carolina, took care of business. Georgia responded well against Auburn, which Auburn gave away some plays that they was in the game, and then they made some mistakes yet again. Auburn's just a mess at this point. I don't know. Poor John Roberts, he's going to have a panic attack in Birmingham if he continues to watch this show.
They're not as bad as FSU.
No, this
I mean,
weekend was just bad again. But my biggest thing here, I'm going to say this, and I know we shouldn't bring it up. These are two things that I think should be talked about. Is Indiana being 6-0, 5-0? They haven't played really. They haven't really played anybody.
Team,
but they haven't really played anybody. But I felt like they got a really fun team to watch. They'll be tested here pretty soon. They got to go to Ohio State, I believe. So they'll find out how good they are then. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was Army and Navy is both 5-0. They're both having an absolute tear of a season. I
think Navy's getting close to being ranked, to be honest. Votes wise,
Army and Navy are off to their best combined start to the season since World War II. Is that not nuts?
Since 1945. Yep.
And
yep.
I'm not even so sure that the game that with them at the end of the year might have some implications on the playoffs. Their Army-Navy game at the end of the standalone game, because usually it's it's the week after the SEC championship, and it's the only game I think that's played. And let
me tell you something that's even more weird. So they're in the same conference this year for the first time ever. There is a chance if they keep winning out that they will play each other for the conference championship the week before the lone Army-Navy game, which is kind of weird to think about.
Yeah, it is. So that's all I really wanted to kind of touch on. They wouldn't really they had FSU lose. They wouldn't really. How many upsets were there this weekend, Brad? There was
5 of the top 11 that went down. 4 of them to unranked teams.
Well, you had Vanderbilt beat Alabama. You had Arkansas beat Tennessee. Who was it? A&M beat Missouri. Washington beat Michigan. Oh, I forgot. Minnesota beat USC. That was another game that we forgot about. They ended up winning that game. And beyond that, they wouldn't. SMU beat Louisville, but Iowa State's in the hunt for a playoff spot. They're 5-0.
They are.
They're in
and
the hunt.
BYU.
And BYU.
In the Big 12.
Fun week, but you can go on now to the.
I'm just going to put that up on the screen. You guys can read this as I talk through some of this. So I had a really great day today. I've been up in Lexington, got to cover UK Basketball Media Day today. Just want to give a shout out to Cammie Moore and Kentucky women's basketball for that opportunity. If you guys are following us and still with us here, be paying attention because I will be posting some stuff. I've got a lot of material, to be honest with you, from players, from some from the coaches, some from women's practice. I got to sit in the women's practice today for an hour and see the practice. And it was really cool to see. It was cool. It was cool to see the way Coach Brooks. Yeah, it was cool to see the way Coach Brooks coaches, the way the girls respond as well. I mean, it was just a cool day. I got to stand in the back of the room of the Coach Mark Pope press conference today because they'd done the media days together. The men's and women were there the same day, a few hours before each other. So it was just a really cool day, and I will have quite a bit of content to share with you guys. So follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, because those are the places that I will be posting this stuff, as well as our X. So this is our X account right there for John and I. It's on the screen. That's why that is on the screen all the time for us.
And
I will also be doing some articles.
Another thing, Big Blue Madness is Friday night, so we might be moving our show back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's my first time at the beginning of the season. I covered the women's last year at the end of December on, but I wasn't part of it at the beginning of the season. So I don't know if media gets to go to Big Blue Madness or not. But if I do get a chance, we might be doing our game day pick'ems this week on Thursday night. So with that said, John, it's fun as always. Like I said, you guys pay attention to our accounts, and I've got a bunch of content and stuff to post for you guys. And we hope you have a great night. This has been the Big Fuss Show with College SportsCast. We will see you guys for Game Day Pick'em either Thursday or Friday. I'll let you know.
Have a good one.
Y'all have a good night.
Can I please have your attention?
What's all the commotion around here?
What are you talking about?
Let them yap at you.
It's actually very exciting.